Yo, we cashed out like $20,000 yesterday. I mean, it may have been the best day of my life. One five pick flex hit, 5 for 5. Number two, 5 for 5. This one, 0 for 5, but who cares? We lost 150. We just won 2,500. Here, another 5 for 5, 4 grand hit. Here we went 4 for 5. So remember that flex plays, if you go 4 for 5, you still double your money. So not particularly bad. All we needed was Troy Brown to get a steal, but he sold us. Here we went 5 for 5 again. I mean, literally in an absolutely insane day. I'm still on cloud 9. And then here we went 5 for 6. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt over 7.5 points would have been awesome, but whatever. And then here we can see on Underdog 2, we had a 10K cash, we had a 2.1K cash, 4-pick insured, and then we had a 3K cash. So, I mean, pretty insane day in terms of making money, and we're back at it today, right? Like, when I talk about my betting strategy on Underdog Fantasy, all I'm doing when I wake up and I give out plays on YouTube or Twitter is I'm using two tools from OddsJam, and I'm hunting for value, right? I do not ever follow my gut. 99.9% of sports bettors follow their gut. That's why they lose money sports betting, right? Like, you don't want to wake up in a given day and say, I have a feeling about LeBron James, right? You want to wake up and say, okay, there's millions of odds across sports books. I'm going to look at tennis lines. I'm going to look at NHL, and I'm going to find value. So the first tool I use is right here. This is called the OddsJam screen. And essentially the way I use it is I look for big line discrepancies between PrizePicks and the sports books, right? So you can look at, tennis, any league you want to. You can also look at any market you want to. So it's just millions of odds updating across the market in real time. And I look for discrepancies. So here, as an example, you can see, Medvedev versus Baena. This line is 17 on PrizePicks. All the sports books have it at 17.5. So that's a line discrepancy, right? Maybe that's something we want to look into. But you'll also notice the sports books have the under favored, right? So the fact that the sports books have the under 17.5 games juiced makes us not like the over 17 as much. Right, so we're looking for big line discrepancies. So as an example, this play right here, Paula Badosa versus Elena Rybanka, I don't know anything about these players. I'm literally just following the market, day trading sportsbooks, hunting for value. Here, I don't want to make a play on PrizePicks. PrizePicks has the line at 21.5. So does FanDuel, Pinnacle, BetMGM, DraftKings, 10Bet, 888 Sport, and all these other sports books. You have dozens of books setting the line at basically the exact same level, exact same odds. There's no value in the market. So I don't want to make a play here, right? So that's why I don't have a play on this tennis match. But anyways, the first pick I ended up going with today, we'll just head over, and this is on a different tool. So again, I said I use two main tools on OddsJam. The first is that OddsJam screen, and that's for looking for where sportsbooks are setting the line at different levels. And then I also use the EV tool, right? So what the EV tool does is it compares odds, right? So this is the easiest tool to use, in my opinion, on OddsJam, and I get most of my picks from it. Because it's, again, just super easy to use. It's less flexible than the screen. So what's cool about the screen is, I'll go ahead and I'll just open it up again, is what's cool about the screen is, like, if I go to NBA, let's say, player assists, is I can see the entire market, right? So I can see, here, PrizePicks has Jimmy Butler's line at 5, sportsbooks have it at 5.5, but all the sportsbooks have the under 5.5 assists for Butler heavily favored, so there's no play to make. But long story short, that's the way I'm using this screen. So typically, one way if you're playing on Underdog and PrizePicks is a lot of the time I'm looking for where do Underdog and PrizePicks, like where are there discrepancies, between these two platforms and where they're setting the line. So here's an example. You can see CJ McCollum. His line is 5.5 on Underdog, 5 on PrizePicks. That's an interesting line discrepancy. Maybe there's some value. As a sharp bettor, that's information we want to know and look at. And the screen makes it super easy to kind of browse odds across the entire market and try to spot these big line discrepancies as well as following the line movements. Now what the EV tool does is it's a bit more restrictive, is essentially it goes to all the sports books, right? It goes to Underdog, it goes to PrizePicks, DraftKings, Bovada. So Bovada, I actually just hit this bet as well on Baena +7. So you can see this is a play I just grabbed right here off the EV tool. So the EV tool, you're literally just hitting the bet in green and in bold. So Baena +7, +100 odds on Bovada. That's what I went with. Following the data. I don't know anything about these players. But regardless, all OddsJam is doing is, right, it's reading in all these lines from Bovada. So millions of odds are updating on OddsJam. Like if you look at one NBA game, right, just look at how much crap you can bet on. I mean, literally, there's tens of thousands of odds on each sports book. So OddsJam is quite simply reading in all that data and trying to point out where sports books screw up. So you put in PrizePicks, Underdog, Bovada, Caesars, FanDuel, whatever other sports books you use. Right now I'm in Florida, so I just have PrizePicks, Underdog, and Bovada selected. And then this tool scans the market and then just tells you the most freaking profitable plays based on data. No BS, no gut, no emotions. It doesn't work. I don't know how people still trust their gut. It's like, bro, 99% of sports bettors do that and they all lose money. It's like, why are you doing that? Like, level up, think, use your brain. So what you're going to see here is in the Bucks Nuggets game, this line is on PrizePicks, over 9.5 assists, right? So we know on PrizePicks, we want to be playing 5 and 6 pick flexes. So the reason, like a lot of people would be like, oh, why do you place 5 and 6 pick flex? It's because I've gone through the math and broken down. I've studied these platforms. I know what's optimal. When you're playing on PrizePicks, it is mathematically optimal to be playing 5 and 6 pick flexes. You're getting -119 odds in a 5 and a 6 pick flex. So you ruthlessly compare the lines on PrizePicks to those on the sports books, and you hunt for spots where books have been over or an under heavily favored. So as an example, the top play currently on PrizePicks, so the top play is actually on Bovada. It's an MLB play, but the top play on PrizePicks that we want to go with is Jokic over 9.5 assists. Why are we so confident that it's so good? Look at the sports books, right? Fliff has been added to OddsJam, by the way. All the sports books, right, they have the over heavily favored, around -145, -160 on Bovada, -154 on FanDuel. So because every sportsbook sets lines independently, you essentially have dozens of data points telling you, yo, this is where the line should be set. And they're all pricing, right, the over for Jokic as a heavy favorite, right? All sportsbooks have Jokic's over heavily juiced, heavily favored. So I went with this play, Jokic over 9.5 assists, Patrick Kane over 2.5 shots on goal. Why did I take the over? All sportsbooks, once again, have the over heavily favored. Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker in the world, has the over at -154. Bet in bold in green. Vladimir Tarasenko, under 2.5 shots on goal. Why the under for him, but the over for Patrick Kane? Here, all books have the under heavily favored, heavily juiced. All sportsbooks, every sportsbook, 1, 2, 3, right? These sportsbooks are billion-dollar companies. They've invested hundreds of millions of dollars into their model. Anything you know, any public information, they know before you know. Their models are better than yours. They've invested hundreds of millions of dollars. They've hired full-time employees to build their models and to adjust lines due to supply and demand. No offense, you're not smarter than them, and your gut is definitely not smarter than them. No offense. So here, all the books have the under heavily favored, right? -140-ish. We're getting -119 on PrizePicks in a 5 flex, clear value. Jaden Schwartz under 2.5. All books have the under heavily favored. Tyler Hero over 2.5 threes. All books have the over heavily favored. So what you're going to notice, and again, I'm just showing you guys all the stuff I put my own, personal money on, is Jaden Schwartz under 2.5 shots on goal. Hero over 2.5 shots on goal. Kane over 2.5 shots on goal. Jokic over 9.5 assists. Mateo under 24 total games. Kirill under 2.5 shots on goal. And then I have some different combinations of these things here in 5 flexes as well. So 1 5 flex, 2 5 flex, 3 5 flex, and then a 6 pick flex with all these picks. Just to kind of break it up. And basically that's what I got for you guys. Bunch of picks. Again, all I'm doing is following a mathematical betting strategy on PrizePicks, on Underdog, and let's make money.